Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Zachary Dickinson here, and I hope you all had a wonderful week. It is the weekend, at least for me. So, hope you're having a wonderful weekend or weekday whenever you're watching this. It is almost Mardi Gras here in Louisiana. So, truthfully, I've been procrastinating doing this video for a little while, mostly because I got disappointed with how this series ended up going. This is the Star Wars High Republic Phase 2 and my thoughts on it. I did a video on Phase 1 a few weeks ago, and it is what I consider to be the best set of Star Wars books that I've read so far. And this is very much a letdown, but looking on it, I do feel like I like it more now that I've had a chance to sit back and view it as a whole, but it is still not as good as I was hoping it would be after I hyped it up a lot and as much as I would hope. And so there are many books and comics that I did not get to. So if you feel that my opinion would improve in any way, shape, and form about this phase, about phase 2 of the High Republic books, comment below the book or the comic, and I'll make sure to look into it and possibly read it sometime in the next few months. And I'll upload a video about it if I end up reading it and if it changes my viewpoint. I know that these 7 books that I DNF'd one, I didn't even read through one because it was the audio drama one, and I just like read through the summary. I know those aren't the full entire thing. I know there's like upwards of like 20 different things that were published for this set, for this specific series. So I want you guys' opinions, whoever watches it, whoever is watching this, to show me something else that you think was good about this to improve my overall opinion of this phase. And so I picked, and I went and looked through the timeline of this, and I got 7 books. I only actually read 5. The Battle of Jedha is an audio drama. I haven't gotten around to actually enjoying audio dramas by reading or actually reading through audio books or listening to them either. So I haven't gotten there yet. So it wasn't a book that I really read. I know everything that happened and I kind of do like it. So I may actually read it later. The other book I did, in fact, DNF Quest for Planet X. I feel like if I would have read this book before Path of Vengeance, I would have loved it. But I feel like, but whenever I did attempt to read it, it was right after finishing Path of Vengeance, and that was on the heels of basically the same exact kind of story with like Planet X being there, and so I just had to DNF it for that. If you think that it's very much more important and I should just reread it or retry it sometime in the near future, let me know in the comments. Um, so, so before we get into anything else, like the video, subscribe to get notified, like it to help this video get out to others that may want to watch it. Subscribe to get and hit the notification bell for any future uploads. As I always say, Monday is MCU and DCU, the big cinematic universe content that is coming out by Marvel and DC, being led by Kevin Feige and James Gunn. That's Mondays. Wednesdays is TV show content. I will do once a month. I will break down a TV show in a long form video, like the Daredevil one I did a while back. I'll rank some shows, and I'll also occasionally go into anime as well. That's Wednesdays, and then on Saturdays we do book reviews. Whether it's a single book or a set of books. I haven't done one single book yet. I probably will though later this year. So without further ado, also spoiler warning for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, spoiler warning. There's also a slide at some point as well. And let's get into this. Right. So now the first book that I read in this in the High Republic Phase 2 was Path of Deceit. And so I had wild expectations for Phase 2 after reading Phase 1 over a year prior, and my just like expectations in general. Hype for it was just a probably bit misplaced, as a preface before. But now looking back, I do actually find that this phase was good. I just don't feel like it was as good as Phase 1. Path of Deceit, it was a good book, a good beginning, and it's better after I've read the rest overall. The main like issue with Path of Deceit I have is the fact that it's a story mostly around the bad guys. Not like that. That's not the issue. I'll get to it. It's a story around pretty much the bad guys through and through, but it very much exemplifies some of the main issues around the Jedi Order because you have two Jedi that are there and that were sent there for a disturbance, but no one in the Jedi Order or Council ever thinks to send more Jedi there ever at all. And the two Jedi that were sent there never like contact anyone. So it's a bit of a weird thing for me to read that throughout because it's like it very much shows the weakness of the Jedi that um that two Jedi were sent there and they don't send anyone else there or think that there's anything wrong and they just let two Jedi completely disappear. Like I wasn't expecting that kind of way. I would expect it more in the Clone Wars and prequel trilogy era, not in this kind of era. So it was a very different kind of like vibe and feel. And also, this is over 100 years before Phase 1. And so it was a very different, like, kind of feel than what I was generally, like, very much expecting for it. But overall, as a whole, this did set the stage and the groundwork for the beginning of Phase 2. And so I do now actually like this book a bit better. It's just the whole Jedi Council and not really sending anyone after what they perceive as a problem uh is like a big like weird thing for me. Oh right. So book two in this is Quest for the Hidden City. And if I didn't say it for Path of Deceit, which I don't think I did, I gave that 4 stars out of 5. For this, I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5. Um, I read this in a day, which was pretty much the plan since this is like 190 pages, and I wanted to read it through quickly, and it was very much a bounce back book from how much I was like not really liking how Path of Deceit ended for me, and with how I discussed about the Jedi Council stuff. And so this book was a much easier read to like read and stuff, and I got it a lot easier than Path of Deceit, and probably easier than most of the books of Phase 2 in general to begin with. It was a fun journey, and it wasn't really as connected as the rest of these books, and it really does support the overall story and themes. However, it is the book that I remember the least about the content, but it helped to mend what Path of Deceit did, even though I've now come to like it. But in the time, a few months ago, whenever I read this, I wasn't liking it then as much. And so it helps to mend that as well. And so it helped mend the expectations, and I felt like after Quest for the Hidden City, I finally actually had my expectations and like hype set properly for the rest of the phase. But some things of the rest of the phase still did disappoint and didn't live up to what I thought. All right, so now after Quest for the Hidden City, we have Convergence. I keep on flipping where exactly I rank this in like this phase at least. It's like number 3, maybe 4. I don't know. I haven't put too much thought into how I would rank the books in this like series or this phase 2. But in a nutshell, this book is a love story, and the two people that are basically like slowly like falling in love, but it's not really them falling in love, but it's like an arranged marriage. They are trying to end a forever war between their two planets, and the other side wanted to continue for money and their own agenda, which is the path of the open hand and all the economy people that love war, because war makes a lot more money when you're not than when you're not in war. Um, and I also consider this to be like book one of a trilogy or like a 4 book part series, really. Because for the most part, Convergence, Battle of Jedha, Cataclysm, and Path of Vengeance is all mostly one cohesive story all throughout. And I feel like this is kind of like book one of a great like series that sets the tone for it, except for the like final battle part where we get to like the end of the final battle and then the like immediate aftermath is just like skipped, which is a kind of general vibe that I got from just about every major book of this phase 2, which I feel like if we could have just expanded just a little bit on like the immediate aftermath, it would have been better. But this book, most assuredly, the immediate aftermath of the final bit at the castle, I think it was just like skipped and we went to like a few days later. And so I just wasn't as much of a fan of that. Okay, so as we're now moving into Battle of Jeddah, this one will be a quicker one since I didn't read through it. I don't like audio drama books as like reading an audio drama. It's very weird and a different vibe. I also haven't gotten into listening to an audiobook yet. I haven't figured out how exactly I would do that yet or what I would do while listening to it. Because I just feel that I would just fall asleep while listening to it and just miss a big chunk of it. So I read through the summary. I like what happens. I am willing to listen once I figure out how I would properly do audiobook stuff. And if you have any comments about how to properly do audio formatted books, please help me out. I would love to get into it. I just don't know how, and the whole reading an audio drama just feels very, very weird for me. Um, and so that's pretty much all I had for that. I'm not going to say anything too good or too bad because I didn't really read or listen to this book. Okay, so now we're going to be entering a weird like part of this video because I have the opinion and belief that Cataclysm and Path of Vengeance could have been combined and then split into 2 separate books while telling the same exact story that it did tell to build off and do a better payoff in the end of the combined books because towards the ending of Path of Vengeance and how it aligns perfectly with Cataclysm, I feel that if we could have read what happens with the Mother of the Open Hand in Cataclysm, it would be much more satisfying in and of itself to have the whole climactic end of this whole like story that's been building throughout the whole phase in that one book together. I feel like it would have been a much more cohesive ending. I understand that the young adult books are what they were gunning to be the bad guy books. Uh, I would have loved if they just did like a cliffhanger ending for Path of Vengeance and just like inserted that bit and like gave little hints throughout Cataclysm and then put the ending toward that in Cataclysm, and then it would have been a much more satisfying ending for me. Overall, the books as a whole, Cataclysm is 4 stars, Path of Vengeance is 4.75 stars. And so that's pretty much what I feel about those 2 books. I feel like if it would have been combined, how I see it perceived to work better, it would have been like easy double 5 stars, possibly even my first ever over 5 star books, because I don't have a scale to like rate over 5 stars yet. And so that's pretty much my general belief. I do, and I feel like this would have been the book to like pretty much match the best, the best and worst of Phase One, as I don't feel like Phase Two like hit it just there, but that's just my beliefs, and like that's just opinionated based, but that's what I feel about Cataclysm and Path of Vengeance. That's why they're here together in one like category or one part of this video together. All right, so lastly, the book that I read last, which I probably shouldn't have read last, and I should have read before I read Path of Vengeance, because it's pretty much the prequel to Path of Vengeance and like kind of sets the ground for Path of Vengeance better, and a book that we'll probably read later, and I won't really discuss this too much, just like I didn't discuss too much on Battle of Jedha, and that is Quest for Planet X. It is pretty much the basis of like the groundworks and the backstory of Planet X that is deeply, deeply explored in Path of Vengeance. And I just felt like I read it at the most inopportune time, and I was very much anticipating reading the books that I'm currently reading, and I'm enjoying those reading right now much more. And so I will likely read Quest for Planet X sometime later this year, and I'll talk about that later. But I am probably going to be reading that sometime later this year instead, to give it the justice that it is due. All right, so that is my opinions on Phase Two. As I was making the script or my breakdowns, more so to like remind myself of what to talk about this in general, my overall opinions as I was thinking about this phase did improve a good bit. I do not think it's as good as Phase One. I do think it's still very good. I think I probably have Phase One very high because I just sped through all of them very quickly, and they're just very beloved for me. It'll just be very hard to like clip that. Maybe Phase Three will do that. Maybe if I reread Phase Two, they'll be better. And maybe if I just go into Phase Two to reread them sometime in the future or something of a sort and different perspective, it'll be different. But that's my overall opinions on Phase Two. It's good, just not great as Phase One. And as we close out this video, I'll be posting the MCU Infinity Saga Phase 3 Part 1. I don't think I'm going to get through all 13 films in just 20 or so minutes, and I don't want to have to film a video that's like an hour long. I do want to kind of shorten my videos to only be like 20, at most 30 minutes. So I am going to split Phase 3 of the MCU into 2 parts at the very least, maybe more. I'm trying to get more people to watch these videos. Um, Next Wednesday video will be, I don't know. Oh, it'll be a ranking one like the recent one where I rank like season. Oh, I'll be doing all non MCU Marvel shows that I've watched ranked, and I'll try to make it short and sweet, like the Netflix shows. And lastly, I'm currently reading 2 books right now, one Christian, one fiction fantasy book. Christian book is Finding Jesus in the Old Testament, just to get more philosophical in it and to develop my faith in it, and to like further prove that Jesus was always around, like to further prove Jesus and the Holy Spirit are always around and always have been around. And the other book is grandfather book, the grandfather book of all fantasy, The Lord of the Rings. I am reading the full, complete book of it. It's 1,080 pages. It's very daunting, but I am loving it so far, and it's been slow. I just haven't had the time to read it as I would have liked. So that's me. Hope you all have a wonderful and blessed day. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below something about Star Wars High Republic Phase 2, and see you Monday. Bye.